Pow, pow, pow. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the podcast.
This podcast episode will be covering the rising of the Shield Hero.
Indeed.
Yay!
Yay. All
I
right.
just finished watching it, so
I watched
this will
it
be
like
good.
whenever it first came out, so I've had
All
to
right,
do
you
some
wanna?
recaps to kind of refresh my brain on this one. But yeah, let's move on. What was your overall expectation going in?
I really didn't have any expectation. I mean, other than like it was gonna be knights and stuff based on the
Yeah.
title and everything. But no, I didn't really have any expectations going in. I heard a little bit that it was a good show from a couple people I know. But it was actually my overall summary take of it is I would give it a pretty good rating. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the world that they built. I think a
Mhm.
lot of the characters and the different parts of the world were very well put together. Um, so I guess we can start kind of from the beginning.
Yeah. Let's go ahead with our good boy now for me.
Oh yeah,
The I mean, could you really call him like the pro tag? I guess, yes, kind of,
kind of
maybe.
maybe. Didn't
The
seem like it at
the
the beginning.
yeah, the for those that haven't watched, this is definitely going to be full of spoilers. So if you don't care about that shit, then go ahead and stick around. For
Yeah.
those that do care about spoilers, should we do a spoiler free, just like quick review? You think we should do one of
I think
those?
we can pull one of those out.
We
Yeah.
can pull one. Yeah, we can knock one of those out for you guys, so y'all can sit there and have kind of a good idea what you're getting into with the show.
Yeah.
But for all the rest of you degenerates, yeah, let's break it down a little bit from the beginning, as far as with Now for Me and his rise to
Shield
Shield
Hero.
Hero status. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, the I like that it was kind of on the nose with how he got transported to the world of Mel Remark or the realm of Mel Remark. There we go.
Yeah.
Because it was literally just like, man, I really hate my life. This solid shit sucks. I wish I could just get transported to another world and then get sucked into the book. And so it's like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, I mean it was they definitely jumped into the main story real quick
very
without a bunch
quickly.
of background bullcrap.
Yeah, there wasn't a
Like
lot
we
of
didn't get a
like,
whole like background story on his real
yeah,
life before. It was just a quick my life
yeah.
sucks.
It's just
Oh,
like
now
I
we're
hate
somewhere
shit. My
else.
life sucks. Well, oh man, this is an interesting looking book. I wonder what's in it. Oh wow, she looks like a bitch. Ah man, huh? Interesting. And then fucking all of a sudden it's like, oh no, the book's glowing. I'm glowing. What's happening? But you made a good point. We were just talking in passing the other day, as far as once he gets there and then ends up meeting the other people that have been transported uh, to Melromark to save them from these waves of whatever the fuck. Basically, to save their world. Um, what was your take on that as far as
Well, my note in my head when I was watching it was like they took being just sucked into this new world like super lightly. Like I know
super
if it was
casual?
me, I would have been like, "What the hell is going on?" I'd have been freaking out, wondering what just happened. But they kind of were just like, "Oh, we're here."
Yeah, just super casual. Like, hey, you know what? Well, just like every other thing I've ever imagined. Okay, cool. Like,
Yeah,
I've never. I just wonder. I'm like, how shitty were their lives prior to that?
yeah.
From each of their, I guess, instances of Japan, how shitty was their life that they were like, this could be there. This is 1,000 times better than what I was dealing with back at home. Like,
I'm not phased at
I'm
all.
not phased whatsoever. I'm not like, huh, this is interesting. How the fuck do I get here? How do I eat? How am I gonna pay for shit? Do they even have those systems in place? Yeah, like there was nothing. They're just like, okay, yeah, let's do this hero shit. Like,
Yeah,
but I think that's kind of I think the like shock and surprise of being in another world for like isekai anime is reserved for more comedic isekai, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Like Konosuba does that. I'm Sending Out a Million Lives does it briefly. You haven't seen that yet. I need to finish that. I've been waiting to binge that. But yeah, it, I think that's just more reserved for uh, less or lighter toned isekai, to where whenever they sit there and they end up in another world, like they're like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" As opposed to, "All right, what's next?" Like,
Yeah.
and they kind of do a little bit of fourth wall stuff there too sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, with this, it was very interesting that they were just kind of like, "All right, sure, we're here." The whole
Yeah.
party thing though was, yeah, I don't like how they broke that down where it's like, oh, well, yeah, we're going to now break down these people that can help you on your journey as heroes. And then, of course, you know, our wonderful favorite character, I'm being fully
Um,
sarcastic here, Mine or Mine, however the fucking dub
it's
wants to say it.
well, yeah, multi,
Yeah,
whatever you want to
Malty,
call her,
whatever.
whatever you want to call her.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, her that sits there and it's like, oh, sure, I'll be part of your party. Yeah, let's do all this shit, blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah, I
then,
was thinking she's gonna be main character, helping him out,
yeah,
and
I was like, oh, okay, cool. That bait and switch, holy shit.
yeah,
That was
wasn't ready
brutal
for that.
at all. That's where a lot of people got turned off from the anime, actually, was that's why it didn't get as popular, was because of that first episode.
Well, it honestly it pissed me off. I was like, when he got like accused of all that assault and stuff, I was
Yeah.
like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. I was like,
I was
are you
like,
fucking
this makes me
serious?
mad for a guy I've watched one episode of.
Right? I genuinely was pissed off for him because I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck? And then nobody sits there and sees that she's just like,
yeah.
like, what the fuck? Yeah, that pissed
It
me
was
off to no
stupid.
end. I've never been
Yeah,
so,
I wrote in my notes because I was taking like quick notes as I was watching it, like here and there. I wrote in my notes like that she's a bitch.
yeah, like just
Like
a full on,
that's my quote in my notes
yeah,
is this she's a
full
bitch.
on 100% absolute bitch. Like, that is just, but yeah, that, I don't think I've seen that or felt that much rage for against a character.
Yeah. But I think that I think that's a good part of the show is how you
Yeah,
can get
like it
emotions
genuinely
like
slaps
that.
you in the emotions, and
Yeah.
you end up feeling really bad for Naofumi because he goes from being like, oh, okay, one of the four heroes, and then you sit there and you see this bullshit go down, and then it's like he's shunned by an entire fucking kingdom. Okay, that's nice. Of which he
Yeah.
still has to operate and do business in. Cool. So how the hell is he gonna do that? And so that first episode leading you into his path, you know,
Yeah, like it's not the normal hero shit where it's like, "Oh, he's the hero.
yeah, he's the hero,
Everyone
so
loves
let's just
him."
go on his journey because everybody loves him and he's not gonna have any freaking obstacles other than enemies. Like, no, everything, the where he lives, where he works, where he eats, where he sleeps, everyone hates him.
Yeah, and then yeah, he kind of becomes semi evil himself
Yeah,
like
well,
with
he
some of
has
the
to, to kind of
yeah.
sit there and survive. He has to. Like some of the stuff that he ends up doing is very morally questionable, but at the same
Yeah,
time, it's like
you got to
you
survive.
got to survive, and he understands that whether he does it out of want, doubtful. He does it out of sheer necessity to survive. Being a shield hero, the biggest thing that he got screwed over with is the fact that what he can't pick up weapons. His shield is his weapon. That's it.
Yeah, that was an interesting concept of like how they have to use that specific weapon that
Exactly.
their hero characters tied to,
Yeah.
which you don't see that a lot like the whole how the hero can't really fight
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. The hero,
He's
he can fight, but more as like a support and
yeah, he's not the overpowered guy sitting there.
exactly. He's not freaking Kirito from Sword Art Online that can sit
Yeah.
there and cheat death and shit basically because he's such an OP character. Bullshit MC freaking plot armor.
He's got some secret power that's
Yeah,
hidden.
that's like I
But
mean, the secret power trope is in Shield Hero, but
Well, yeah, but you
It's
gotta
not as
work for it. Yeah,
exactly. It's not as like readily available as with most characters in
yeah,
his position, and I like that they did that. But yeah, with him and this the forcing and be sitting there and realizing, shit, I'm gonna die if I don't. I'm gonna die against freaking the little balloon things. I'm gonna die against those if I don't sit there and figure out what I'm gonna do to sit there and take out higher level characters. You know.
yeah. I mean, I liked how he, I liked how he started using the little oranges
Oh
too.
yeah.
I think I noted like when he killed like the first one and got like 1 XP or something from
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I wanted to also dive into somewhat a little bit about how it's like a game world, and
Yes.
I think that whole concept is really a cool idea. How they're like they can actually see their stats and
Yeah.
other people's stats, and it's got like the little warning messages and the upgrade tree and all that stuff. Like that was very unique, I think, for
Yeah.
what I've seen.
Yeah. The majority of isekai, thankfully, are or I wouldn't say thankfully. It's an interesting spin as far as like tying it into today.
Yeah,
Uh,
take note, Seven Deadly Sins.
yeah, I know, right?
On how to actually do power
How to actually
level
do power levels
levels. You
exactly.
actually
It's
incorporate it at the beginning of the story and make
exactly
it
instead of
part
just
of the
like
story
throw it in there like, oh, it's power level of something something.
instead
Huh?
of an afterthought.
I can't. Oh, let's not. Let's not before I
Check
get
out
pissed
our
off.
Seven Deadly Sins short review
Yeah,
if you're
definitely.
interested.
It's gonna be up there
It's
somewhere.
already up. Yeah, I'll put a little.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. A little suggested thingy. But yeah, the the power level system as far as just regular RPG ranking and things of that nature. You don't get like any kind of weird, crazy Senkai boost or anything like that. It's just straight up grinding out levels like
Yeah,
an actual RPG. You know, they do side quests and shit like an actual RPG. They do regular quests like an actual RPG. They get, of course, XP bonuses for completing harder level shit. But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, that was
it's
yeah. But on your quest note,
yeah,
I liked how I thought it was hilarious how that basically that one giant quest for them to get Philo's clothes,
yes,
how it went from go to the blacksmith doesn't have it, then go to the weaver and she needs
mm-hmm,
magic thread, then you go to a person with a threading machine and she needs a magic gemstone, so
mm-hmm.
they got to go get the gemstone. It's like just back to back every traditional game, like, oh, I
I
don't have
enjoyed it
this.
because he had basically the standard frustration of like, oh my god, what else do we need? Like this,
Yeah.
but he's still willing to sit there and get it done. So I'm like, all right, that's nice. Yeah. Uh, but going back to like the like him sitting there and trying to figure out how to earn money, how to get food and things of that nature, with basically nothing, and sitting there like you said, using the little orange balloon slimes. I don't know what you want to call those
I don't
things.
know what they were called, balloons, I
The
think.
balloons, okay,
I
yeah.
believe. I
Yeah,
don't
but
remember what they
using
were called.
those as like leverage against this freaking shopkeep that wanted to sit there and treat him like shit solely because he's a shield hero. He's just like, I'll
Yeah.
sick these motherfuckers on you. I don't have a problem with that. And everybody's like, what a savage person. How can you call him? How can you call himself a hero? I know he and he didn't give a shit at that point. He's just like, whatever. I just need to get this shit, dude. Like, I like that approach that he took initially to where he was just like, fuck this world,
It's
fuck
like y'all are gonna
everybody.
be assholes to me. I'm gonna be
I'm
an
gonna do it
asshole
right
back.
back. Exactly. It's like all I care about is sitting here and taking care of the shit that you asked me to, so I can get the fuck out of here. Like that's literally his straight up I don't care attitude, and I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Yeah.
The whole thing with like having to sit there and figure out he couldn't reach out to any guilds for anybody to help him out party wise. There was no way. So he's like, what are my options here? And then finding out that or finding out about the slave trader, and he's like, fuck no, I don't want to do that basically in his mind, and he's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, let's go see. Damn it. All right, let's go over there and see what he's got, you know? And sits there and sees Reptalia as a kid, and he's like, well, she's sickly. She's gonna die. Or the Citra's like, yeah, she's sickly. She's gonna die anyway. Who cares about her? He's like, I'll take her.
Yeah, because he
Like,
didn't have a lot of money
yeah,
anyways, so
exactly. He's like, screw it, I'll take her. And dude's like, you sure? She's gonna die like in 2 days. until he nursed her back to health, to sit there and
then she becomes a badass.
keep her, and she ends up becoming a badass and ends up sitting there and going like, "I will be your sword."
Yeah, her backstory was pretty sad. Like the scene
Super
where
sad.
the dog was like mauling her parents. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was rough, man. I was like, God damn, dude, this shit's
This
dark.
this show and all these emotions.
Yeah, I'm like, this show's dark as hell, man. All right,
It did get dark when the slave trade thing came up. I was like, damn, I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I was like, whew, okay, well, this is where we're going with this. And that was episode like what, 2?
That was really early on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like 2.
3.
Yeah, it was
I was
2
like,
because episode 2 is like called The Slave Girl or something.
yeah,
That's like
and
the
I'm
title
like,
of it.
God.
That's when he bought her.
So it's like, well, you got the assault nonsense or allegations and bullshit in the first one. You got the slave trade for the he buys a whole ass slave girl.
Yeah.
In the second one, I'm like, where are we going with this? Jeez. Yeah. And then it lightens up things for somewhat.
Well, when everything kind of starts, you kind of start clearing things up.
Yeah,
I mean,
once he starts getting out of that hole that he's been dumped into, basically, he's just he's legitimately climbing out of a hole, basically, story and plot wise, and but yeah, like you end up feeling for the dude because it's like he's had to do all of this shit, all this side shit to sit there and just get to a starting level, a starting point, and then
just establish himself a little bit.
It's like, golly, yeah, that was wild. But yeah, then they end up him and Raftalia, little slave girl, end up. I guess she like pledges to be his sword or whatever, right?
Yeah, because he encourages her to fight. I guess to fight the waves to protect herself.
Yeah,
and so because I think she learns about it, or he learns about her backstory and her parents dying and stuff.
Yeah,
and so then, they actually build a relationship beyond her being a slave.
Like he sits there and he initially didn't treat her as such.
He didn't treat her as bad as some people would treat
exactly.
her.
He just kind of was like, I'm basically here to keep you alive and you're going to help me. That's it.
I'm keeping you alive because you're going to help keep me alive.
Exactly. Like that was all he cared about initially. And a lot of people took that as like, oh, he's standard fucking slave owner. And I'm like, no, he legitimately has had everybody's turned his back on him. They turned their backs on him. And he legitimately is just pissed off at the fucking situation he's been put in, and the fact that he's had to resort to this shit of having to have a slave.
Yeah, and how just dumb everyone is to the lies and
shit.
Kind of reminds you nowadays.
Definitely.
We won't get into that.
We won't get into that one. But yeah, that is just straight up sits there, or that he's been forced to be in a situation. He just hates it and regrets that he's had to do the shit, but he's like, whatever, just move along, move forward with it. And then once he finds out about her backstory, he becomes less cold.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, he's not as cold and he's not as stoic whenever it comes to her. And really, just, the scenario he's in is in general. Like, he still very much is untrustworthy of everyone around him, with the exception of her.
Yeah, he kind of builds a small trust with her. You mentioned his personality a little bit, but
yeah,
it kind of, I noted before, it kind of reminded me of Goblin Slayer.
Yeah,
his personality. Some of it, only some of it, like the parts where he's just those short, like there was some scene where he said he was like, I see, after Raftalia like said something to him. I was like, that reminds me, that's like Goblin Slayer.
Like he's just it's just like it's like a side view of his face. He's not like actually interacting with her, but he's listening. He's like, Suka. I'm just like, all right, well.
It's like that's the first thing I thought of when that popped. I think it was when they were after the village or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was. I was like, oh, that brings back memories.
Oh, good old Goblin Slayer. Goblin.
Yeah. Be definitely watching the next season.
Oh, I'm so hyped for that shit. But yeah, the bond between them does grow, and I like the pace at which it grows. When did they get introduced to Philo?
I don't remember what episode it was, but it was after he bought the egg from the slave trader guy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
He bought the egg from it to potentially it was like a monster roulette thing, like you pick an egg and get what you get kind of thing, and he got
He
her.
got her. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was that whole. I like her as a character too.
I love Philo.
She reminds me kind of Hawk from Seven Deadly Sins to a certain degree, like just
Yes.
the animal companion that's super confident in herself.
Pacing wise, yeah. So before the whole Philo thing, before he gets her, um, that battle between him and Spearboy, Moriyasu.
Yeah, the duel.
Yeah, where
With the duel because they dueled to free Raftalia from
exactly.
slavery,
Yeah, they were like, "How
essentially.
could you be so low and such a terrible person that you
Which
would
was
sit there
another
and have
hit.
us?"
I was just like, oh my
Exactly.
god, shut the hell
Yeah,
up.
because really nobody knew about that shit, and then
Well,
they
and they
found
didn't
out
know how
about it.
well he actually treated her.
Yeah,
Like
like
they were like, "Oh, slave, you must be a piece of crap."
exactly. So nobody really knew about what was going on with him. They didn't care, and then all of a sudden they
Yeah.
see him with this girl, and they're like, "What?" And then I think I forget how Moriyasu found out, but like I think they saw her slave crest on her chest, and he's like, "What a terrible lowly human you are," or whatever. He's like, "I'll bring you to justice," or whatever, and then they end
Yeah.
up having the duel,
Yeah.
and
And the king forces the duel
yeah,
even though he
forces the duel,
refused.
which was fucking bullshit, and
And
then
then bitch
yeah,
cheated.
bitch sat
Bitch.
there,
Ill bitch.
sat there and freaking interfered. And he
Yeah, that
sat there. He's like, y'all can't sit here and act like y'all didn't see this shit. Like, and
that
everybody's like, no, no, huh, no. I'm
what are
like,
you
oh
talking,
my
dude? Yeah, I
god.
know the whole that whole part of the show, that beginning where those people are all like just accusing him of stuff, and I was like, this is like fucking elementary school. Like,
Yes,
oh no, you did that, you didn't see it. Oh no, no, no. What are you
so
talking about?
ridiculous.
Making up lies and crap. Like,
Yeah, but
uh,
yeah, it just
that brought out the when she cheated in the duel. I was like, this bitch.
yes, that's
Like, bring
that's
out
the only way
more
to describe her.
emotions.
Like, yeah, she's an absolute epitome of just a bitch of a character. Like, she is
Yeah.
just a pain in the ass. But yeah, like the fact that
Take a shot every time we say bitch.
yeah, exactly. We should sit there and have drinking games for this.
Yeah, no shit. Be drunk already with how many
And
times I said it.
so, and then we said, well, what were we talking about again? But yeah, that was, I completely forgot about that shit. But then Philo, uh, I enjoy her character very much. She's like all that is great in their world. Like,
Well, before we get on to her, I want to go back to the duel. I thought that was a really good like development point in the story of how Raftalia stood up for him after the duel and
oh
then
yeah,
went to his
before
side. Like I think that was a big character development and relationship development between those two about because that's kind of the point when he truly fully trusted her
yeah, yeah. After
because
that,
she
yeah,
told him she believed in him, and so that's when their relationship really like solidified
yeah,
as far as not just slave and owner but like
partners.
actual
Yeah,
companions. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I remember that.
That was, I
Where
think, a big
because
point.
he'd already at that point been pushed pretty far mentally,
Well, he was
but
breaking
then
down after the
yeah, he
duel. He
full
was
on broke down after the duel. He just snapped after the duel, and yeah, like it was her that like saved him from basically just being like fuck everything, I don't care.
yeah,
Like
I'm about to kill everyone.
yeah. Oh man, yeah, that was good forward progress as far as both their characters
Mhm.
because it wasn't she at no point to me even whenever she was like the sickly little demi-human girl, she at no point to me seemed like a helpless character because she was immediately willing to sit there and help him.
Well, kind of. It took a little bit of
A
pushing
little
her
bit of
slave
pushing, yeah,
crest, but
yeah,
after she got through the first few kills, she was
yeah, and she was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do
like
this.
struggling to kill that bunny.
Yeah, that was kind of irritating because he was frustrated, and then he was sitting there and being an asshole, and sitting there like, "Hey, like you need to do it. That's an order, basically." And then
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, you could feel his frustration, but at the same time, you're like, dude, chill. She's
Yeah,
just a
I'm like,
kid.
bro, chill the fuck out, man. Like, yeah. God. Yeah, that hurt. That was
All
painful.
right. Well, now we can move on to Philo a little more.
Philo! I love Philo.
Dude, the scene where the dragon ate her, I was in utter shock. I was like, there is no fucking way we just went through all these few
All of
episodes
this.
of developing this character that I like, and now
And now
she's
she's
just
dead. Okay,
dead.
cool.
But then, yeah, and then it got, I felt better after.
Yes.
It was funny though. They're like, oh, I ate the grapes and or whatever, and the berries, and it wasn't blood. It was just that.
Yeah.
Because they straight up she went in its mouth and it looked like blood
Yeah,
coming out, like she got
she went to
chomped.
go
And I
do
was like,
her little kick
damn.
strike thing, and then
But I do. It was a funny way how they got out of
yes.
that commitment to killing her. I was
I was
like,
like, please don't kill her. Like
that was
that's
good
not
writing.
yeah. I was like, please don't. Like that's
I was like,
don't hurt
I
me in
might
that
have
way.
quit the show if
I honestly,
that
yeah,
shit happened.
I honestly would have been like, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to chill and come back to this bad boy because
Like that just pissed me off.
yeah, like I don't have time for y'all to sit there and freaking ruin my happiness. You sit there and you started out dark, and then you lighten up a little bit. Then you got darker, and then and then you got even darker, and then now you got this nice beacon of hope and happiness. And now you're gonna sit here and just kill her. No,
Just crush my dreams.
just crush my freaking dreams. No. So yeah, I was glad that they kept her alive.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was oof. That was man. I would not have been a happy camper whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, on the topic of the dragon fight, since we're kind of there,
Mm.
I liked. It was an interesting take on how like Naofumi was going behind all of the other heroes and cleaning up their messes because of
Yeah.
how oblivious they were,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to be heroes. Like the dragon mess, the plant seed that was infecting the town.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good part of the story where he's basically going around. And another part that reminded me of Goblin Slayer was how everyone's sitting there calling him a hero and stuff, but he's like, I'm not a
Yeah, he's like, I'm
hero.
not a hero.
It was a similar thing. Like everyone's like, oh, it's Goblin Slayer. He's so great. And
yeah,
then
he's
he's
so
like,
great. He's like,
well,
I'm just here to kill
according to
goblins.
certain civilians, he was great. Some of the other heroes
Yeah.
of Goblin Slayer didn't care about him, but
Like,
still, they were like, oh,
fight anything but goblins.
yeah. But a lot of people are like, oh, he's famous Goblin Slayer guy, and then he's like, nah, I'm just
here to kill goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a similar thing. Like he's like, oh, they're like, oh, our savior, and he's like, no, bitch, pay me. I'm here to just do stuff for money. I'm not here to help you because I like you.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not here for your benefit, really. And then he eventually kind of grows out of that a bit. Like it's not like a 180, but he kind of becomes slightly more appreciative. Whenever
Trusting
he does, yeah. Like I wouldn't say trusting, but he's
well
not as guarded, to put it that way. He's not as guarded with them, and not as much of a ass. But sitting there and being like, I can do this for you. The hell? No. You got money? Where the money at? Pay me. Thank you so much for. Shut up. Pay me. Like,
I was like, oh well, we just went through a famine. Like, yeah. Where's the money?
That's great. Anyways,
I'm giving you this shit for free.
I got these houses. Hey, how about this? This village is now mine. Like,
I do like how he does negotiate though. Like he's like, oh well, I'll take stuff other than money. I'll take supplies and gear and stuff. Which I think that's one note I wanted to mention. Like I like that part of the world that they built. Is it's like you actually have to account for supplies like food and weapons and
it's not just
money
there. Like
like he's calculating money the whole time. It's not like just I'm just buying shit because I'm the hero. I found it somehow.
I found
like
it.
It shows how he got it all. Yeah,
like he's actually worked for everything that he earned, and he became very successful. Like he had that little supply line, basically. With
I like that too. Like the trading business is like that's not something you see. Just the hero's doing
exactly. The hero's doing something that would be considered mundane in any normal RPG or any other isekai, where he's legitimately doing trading to stay alive because of the fact that he has to go through an alternative means of making or earning money other than just doing hero stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
game world or not, he's still having to like
exactly.
get supplies
Yeah,
and
you know, he's having to
utilize
sit
his
there and do stuff to
money.
survive and feed
Yeah,
his partners. You know, that way he's not, or they're not sitting there in a ditch somewhere. You know, they have
yeah.
decent food. They can use their wagon as shelter once they procure a wagon. All this stuff, like
Well, I like because also, and things don't just magically appear again. Like they
no,
abandoned their wagon to get away from
exactly,
the other troops, and then she burned down the forest. Well, they didn't have a wagon anymore until they
exactly,
got gifted a new one.
exactly.
It
So
wasn't
it
just like,
was
oh, we went back and got the wagon in a scene you didn't see.
exactly. It's like, oh, the wagon's just there in the next episode. Well, what happened? Oh, well,
Yeah,
here's this quick flashback because we were too lazy to create an actual story point.
yeah.
So it's like, so I like that the little small details like that, where it's like he's had to work for literally everything. So that's a genuine, like, it feels like a character loss technically. Whenever you lose something
The
as
wagon,
simple as
the
like the
most
wagon,
OP character.
R.I.P. wagon, like.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just basic stuff like that where story wise, that's a good little story beat. Like, oh, they got located and now they're under arrest. Oh no, they have to get away. Okay, they've escaped, but in the process, they had to sacrifice the wagon and any supplies that were on said wagon. You
yeah,
know, and that's money. Like that's gonna leave a dent later on in their day to day. So
yeah. I think we're at the point in the. I think we've covered to the story where they run into Melty,
yes,
the second princess.
yeah, the second princess
I
of the
like her.
girl.
I like her character a lot. How she's like. It's funny how she's the more mature one, an adult sister, even though she's
Yeah,
looks
she's
like a kid.
significantly younger,
Yeah,
but yeah, she's like, well, I wouldn't say significant. I think she's only like,
it's hard to tell.
yeah, she's supposed to be like a couple of years younger than
She looks way
Mine.
younger though
Yeah, but she
compared
looks
to
way younger. Yeah, but she even says like she's like you're whenever she's talking to her older sister, she's like you're pathetic, basically. You know, so it's
another. And then again, they do a good job of kicking Naofumi back down the abducting Melty thing.
yeah.
That scene in story, I was like, dude, this is like, how many times are they gonna kick this guy down?
This man can't win. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no matter
wild.
what he does, he can't
He
win.
can't win. It's like as soon as he gets in this slight groove, he's going up. It's getting there. And bow, and he gets freaking kicked off of a cliff
Like,
again.
no,
Basically,
goodbye.
yeah. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Were you using that rope ladder? It'd be a shame for this snip snip. Like, I mean, goodness gracious.
Well, and then that kind of in that general timeline of the season when bitch tried killing Melty,
Yeah,
like I was like,
and then blamed it
damn.
on him.
Yeah, blame it on him, and
Yeah.
then the abduction scene, but then she tried killing her again with
Mm-hmm.
the when he was taking her away with the
When they were
forest
out in the
fire
yeah,
and
when they
all
were
that
out,
crap.
they managed to
Stuck
get
on
to
that
the
cliffside.
outskirts. Yeah, they
Yeah.
managed to get out to the outskirts of that forest area near the
She was just
cliffs.
blasting him with magic. He's like, "Your
Exactly.
sister's right there. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
And
and
I
even
like
even the even the soldiers are
yeah.
like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Well, it was mostly the the other
I'm sorry,
heroes
the other heroes were
besides
like, "What are you doing?"
Spear Guy.
Yeah.
But that
So
I like that part too because that was a good it
that was
was
a
a good
shift
way
in
to
belief.
shift the
Yeah,
show that Rin and Itsuki were like what's actually going maybe open their brain up a little
a
bit instead of
smidge.
just
Because by that
blindly
point, I
following the
believe
king.
he had already tried to state his claim on more than one occasion to the other heroes. They'd already gone through that first wave. If you
Yeah.
remember, yeah, by that point, they'd already gone through that first wave together.
Yeah, the first wave was
And he was the savior of the first wave.
the loot
So,
village.
yeah. So he was the savior of the first wave. They basically didn't do shit during the first wave. He did pretty much everything, as with all the subsequent waves.
Yeah.
Um, Despite the fact that he's been going around having to clean up, like you said, all of their messes. Then he sits there, and anytime they got together for the waves, they were teleported to the area for the wave. Um, they're like, "Oh, we have to fight with this despicable human being," and he's like, "Fuck you! I'll go do my own thing. I don't care. Like, I'm still gonna fight this wave, but I don't have to fight with you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
do. I was so satisfied when like Rin and Itsuki were like, "Huh, something's going on." I was like, "Thank
yeah,
you."
I
Like
was like,
somebody's got a brain
I was
here.
like, are we thinking? Is
At least
thinking
half a
happening
brain.
right
And then
now?
they started like investigating stuff, which was
Yeah, like they started doing their own investigations without the prompting or the pleading of Naofumi, because there was no need to. They at that point it had finally clicked in their head, oh, maybe there is something else going on here, and we just for whatever reason took this kingdom or this world at face value instead of
Yeah.
looking into the possibility of corruption. So
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah, which kind of brings me to the whole the kind of story about the whole church.
yeah,
Like I thought that was an interesting part of the story was like they have a religion based on the three other heroes besides the shield hero, and that's like the base of why he's
of why
hated.
he's hated. Yeah, it
Like
kind
because
of
of this religion
yeah,
in the
and
kingdom.
also kind of ties into real world, but
Yeah.
we're not gonna go there. But yeah.
Eh, we're not a political show. But yeah, that whole I think, like I said at the beginning, how I like how the world is built. Like they did a good job of like going really in depth with the
Yeah,
different stories. Like they built you have the waves, you have the kind of different timelines of people, the heroes coming in.
yeah,
You have the kingdom of Melamark, and then you have the church, which is in the kingdom
in the
but kind of
kingdom.
its own thing.
Yeah.
But then you have the whole dispute with the demi-humans and like
Mm-hmm.
how they have their own kingdom off in the same world,
Yeah.
like their own country. And so there's just all this intertwined like
There are multiple sub stories
story and
and
stuff.
story. Yeah, there's multiple sub stories and sublines that tie
So
into
they
the
took a good
story
time
properly.
building the world up and
Mm-hmm.
actually putting uh I guess realistic conflicts in there.
Yeah, realistic storylines, realistic. I won't say tropes because that's not a common thing in a lot of Isekai anime. There's not like
Yeah.
15. There's not multiple layers, to where you have all of these things that intertwine into the lives of, say, the main characters,
Yeah, and
or to
actually
where
change the story.
exactly
Like I
like
said,
there's
the religion is literally what
it's a
made
main part of
Naofumi's story of why he's
exactly
hated so much.
exactly. So it's not just there to just be like church bad.
Yeah.
It's actually
It
it's
was a big
actually
part of
a huge
everything.
part of why the kingdom is running the way that it is, why the people treat the shield hero in such in that manner.
Yeah.
But and it's I like that it's kind of it's part of that religion, but it's also kind of a, I guess you could say, unspoken thing that if Mine didn't do what she did with the whole fake assault allegation,
Yeah.
um, that regardless he would be in that same position.
Yeah, you think
Yeah,
about that, like, maybe he will, maybe he wouldn't,
yeah,
like,
maybe he wouldn't. I mean, maybe
maybe
it
he
wouldn't
would
be as
be
bad.
maybe not as bad from the citizens, like, I feel like the
Yeah,
kingdom and the royalty and the church still wouldn't have liked him because of whatever religion they're following,
yeah,
but maybe, like, the citizens wouldn't have been so tied into it because
yeah,
they kinda got tied into it when the false allegations came out, is
exactly.
when everyone in the village hated him. So it might have been a different world if, Bitch didn't come out there and did that.
Exactly. And then
So,
like the once they realize what's happened with pretty much every shield hero prior to him,
yeah.
and finding out that they've all either been they've all just died in the process. They've never been able to save this world because they've all been slandered in some way that has made it so significantly difficult for them to survive in that world, to be able to fight, to get
Well, and
assistance
it
while fighting.
seems yeah,
Yeah,
and it seems like all of the shield heroes in the past have been the ones sticking up for the demi-humans,
exactly.
which is I think what so that's kind of what created this I think well, helped create some of the conflict
Yes.
is because the shield hero stuck up for these demi-humans that the humans saw as not
Inferior.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that probably created that separation of those heroes
Yeah.
and probably started that religion.
I'm sure. Um,
So
but yeah, that's
starting to get into some Skyrim lore here. Thousands of years back.
Dovahkiin.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving from that, the waves thing to me is it doesn't become apparent why that's happening until significantly later and
And
it's
even still, there's a lot of
there's a
cloudy, like why,
yeah,
where did the waves originate from, and why are they
and why are
happening
they
in all these
happening
worlds?
exactly? You know,
Like,
so
I don't think
it's
it's gotten to that explanation yet.
it hasn't as far as season one
Clearly
is
a clear
concerned.
explanation.
Yeah, I mean it briefly touches on it at the basically at the very end of the season.
Yeah,
Um,
like you start getting in a gist that it's not just in the one world that
yeah,
things
it's not
are
just the
going
one
to
world that this
shit.
happens; it's these other worlds as well, and it's not known. My theory, and this is hopefully I'm right. I might not be. I haven't read the manga, so y'all are gonna come to learn that I don't read manga. I haven't since I was in
Same.
like ninth grade, and that was back in 2003. Yes, I'm old. Don't hate. But yeah, the I haven't read manga since then. I have nothing against manga readers whatsoever. I have nothing against manga readers whatsoever. I actually am trying to start getting back into it and stop putting it off, because the amount of like fire, just bomb ass shows that are coming out lately has kind of forced me to do so. Especially with ongoing serializations and some that are done like Demon Slayer. Yeah, I'd rather read it and figure out what's coming next. But then I'm also conflicted because I don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, as far as this is concerned, my theory is that there's like an overarching, uh, I guess, entity. I wouldn't say a god, really, just kind of like an overarching entity or an all powerful, like, wizard or something, mage, something, um, that provides the power to bring these heroes to all of these realms to sit there and duke it out, to sit there and I guess for either for sport or to fulfill some prophecy on their end or something, because that freaking priest, for example, the divinity power that he sat there and was soaking up from all of his minions,
Yeah.
whenever they had that final battle against the church, yeah, that was a shit ton of power.
Well, it's just mana basically
I
from
mean,
like
but yeah, that's what I'm
thousands of
saying.
people.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
like,
I do agree that like there probably will be some kind of overall, being or realm that's affecting all these sub worlds,
yeah, you know,
but yeah, we'll see.
and
I don't
especially
want to get too into that.
with the like with the whole, which we haven't really touched on yet, but the fact that he can combine skills and stuff with his, he's mastered the ability to combine the different skills and different shields, um, powers that he obtains from killing separate or different types of monsters.
Yeah.
Because that was
Well, I
that
mean,
was something I
and
enjoyed, was that his shield is literally seeing as his weapon. Okay, he can sit there and learn various abilities: healing, resistance, poisoning, freezing, flame, and combine things at the same time. You know, do like double jump assist for Raptalia, for example, and stuff like
yeah,
that. Like,
I do like how he uses the projectile shield as like
yes,
a platform a lot. Like
yeah,
that's a unique, like a lot of people wouldn't think to do that. They just think, oh, a shield. Let
a
me.
shield. It's for me. I go boom and I block things with shield. No, like he actively sits there and or trains with Rotalia for those type of combos, for that like out of the box battle tactics. You know, he's
Yeah.
really good at battle
He
tactics.
has to actually develop his skills and learn these things instead of just, you know.
Yeah, just being super powerful, like with what is his name, Itsuki, the archer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has he has a shit ton of power with his archery. Like that's it. And then God, what's the other dude's name? Hold on.
Which one? The
Ren.
sword?
Ren.
Rin, yeah.
Yeah.
Rin is piss everyone off. Rin is baby Sasuke.
He is whole ass baby Sasuke. Like I don't care what anybody says. That one I will out.
He's
Hey,
got that real dry personality, and he's got the same damn looks
yeah,
too. Like
exactly. Hey, guess what? There's your Naruto
that's our
tie-in.
Naruto comparison of the day. Yeah.
Brought to you by Vanilla.
Oh shit! Like that was what I first saw when I. Other than that, there's nothing else about it that
Yeah, other
really
than that, no. There's
grabbed
literally
my.
nothing else about that.
It's
So
just his looks and semi personality.
exactly. Like I mean, he's got like the standoffishness, but he showed way more emotion than I would expect from somebody in like a Sasuke
Yeah,
like
that's
stereotype.
why I said semi.
Yeah,
He's
semi like
especially at the beginning.
But yeah, that They have like this over all these
Something about
overpowered
them
freaking
calm
moves.
blue-haired anime boys.
uh,
Or black, whatever hell color it is. Bluish black.
Bluish black, whatever. We're gonna go
Black
with
hair
black.
with a blue character
Yeah.
clothes and crap. He is blue.
He is blue. Like he's basically got the exact same like clothing fit that Sasuke has. So
Yeah, the blue.
but yeah, the God, what is it dude's name with the spear boy? I'll blank on it occasionally.
Motoyasi.
There we go.
Yasi.
Yeah.
Dude, don't judge me on the pronunciations.
Yeah, Motoyasi.
Nobody. Fuck that.
I always confuse his name with Tonkatsu. I don't know why, because I guess I'm just always hungry. I'm a thick boy, so I guess. But yeah,
I just call him Spear Hero.
Spear Boy.
Spear Boy.
Spear Boy. But yeah, like they sit there and yeah, over time, between waves, yeah, they get stronger. Cool. By default, but they're like exponential gains still somehow don't match up to Alphamies. Like,
well, yeah, and that's where they bring in like the story, how ignorant they are, and like how they're so busy fighting each other and just doing random stuff that they're not thinking about the big picture of actually developing their skills and working together, which was a big part of kind of near the end was how the queen was trying to get them to work together. And they're just so hard-headed, all of them, that they can't.
And the thing is, I love that the queen knew basically what had happened because the king had made it a point of duty to shun her. So yeah, she was exiled to whatever castle, and basically the other side of the kingdom. So
well, she was doing some political crap.
Some political shit, and then she got stuck there, and then he took over.
Yeah.
But yeah, to sit there and do that to basically oust her, and rise himself into divine status because it's a matriarchy as far as the kingdom's concerned. So that's why everybody was like, well, "Where the hell's the queen?" Because she's the actual power figure here.
She's the real G right there.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. All right. So, quick side thing. I just quick about like Vittoria Vittoria, the chicken queen.
Oh yeah.
Her character, I kind of get why she was there, but then I'm also like, what
was the purpose of this?
What role did she play? Like, I know she played the role. She was a badass slicing up that T-Rex. I was like, damn, bitch.
She one-shot that bad boy. I was like, damn.
But I get how they put her in the story to kind of talk to Naofumi about working with the other heroes and actually at least trying to. And then I guess she was there to also kind of develop Philo and be like, oh, kind of show her potential as the next queen of the birds. And so, but at the same time, I'm like, what? I guess I don't understand what exactly her character does. Like, she's talking about, oh, I fight off the waves too, and she's just some mythical creature, some mythical queen. But it's like, I'm not sure exactly where she ties in as far as other than the little bit of contributing to the story of like pushing the character towards something.
With her story, she kind of
like I feel like she's more major than that. Like you feel like her character's more major than that, but then the role she plays is kind of just not as big as you'd think. At least right now.
Her portion of the story, her being introduced, I believe, was more than just like a, hey, nudge, nudge, you should probably, look alive and sit there and be more forgiving of the other three heroes for being incompetent, basically, and kind of sit there and work together with them because y'all's strength comes from working as four instead of separately. Her big thing was she knew the Last Shield hero.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Last Shield hero it had been a long time since they had done this or had this scenario to where they were having the waves again. So
yeah, which I think brings up like, does these waves just constantly repeat themselves over time? Like, is there going to be an actual end, or is it just a cycle of new heroes every single time? They got to do the same damn thing. That's exactly
why I sat there and I was like, it's probably over like an omnipotent god that's over all of these realms that's sitting there, or a deity that's over all these realms that's sitting here like, well, we need to sit there and get better heroes or whatever. Or we need to sit there and it might be a resource thing. you
Kind of
know.
like another Seven Deadly Sins, like how the Elizabeth and stuff
Yeah, the
recycles all the
reincarnation or
time, like something
recycling
because of
of
some kind of curse from
exactly,
higher beings.
exactly. So I think that might be it because
Like, did these worlds do something that pissed off this higher being, and now he's
and
cursed
now
him
it's
to
cursed
deal
them
with
to
this?
to fight with each other and quell their numbers
Yeah,
by a specific or portion every however
yeah.
long.
Like,
I can't remember the exact time since
I'm
the
interested
last
to
school
see what
came
they
in.
come up with that.
Yeah, so that's where I got that theory from. Was like, hey,
Yeah,
maybe there's somebody overlooking all of this, going,
screw these guys.
exactly. But yeah, I think that's more of her purpose was to sit there and add that excuse me, add that bit in the plot of, hey, even though we're consistently pulling out and seeing the bigger picture with every passing episode, there might be an even bigger picture than that as far as regarding all of these worlds.
Well, yeah,
So
and that's kind of how they closed the season with
exactly.
the glasses world
Yeah.
and Lark and stuff. It's like they closed it with like, oh, it's not just happening in this one world. Like
Exactly.
they're building a potential for even more story to go with behind all of
I
this.
like that Glass was talking with Naofumi, and she realized she kind of knew that he was the shutout as far as all the
Yeah.
heroes. She knew that off the rip.
But yeah, because the other ones you could tell they're nothing. Once you get past
Exactly.
Alpha Me, everyone else is garbage.
Yeah. And so she was like, "Oh, this guy's really strong." A, B, it seems like they don't want to cooperate him, so he's the shutout. He's the outcast. Why is that though? I need to know more. So that's why she was more interested in him and attacking him and testing his might than everybody else. Obviously, she didn't need to test their might. She
They
one
couldn't
shotted
even
all of
handle
them.
that spirit
Yeah, I'm
from
like,
the second wave.
yeah, I'm like, she one shot every single one of them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the what I didn't get was why Lark and Therese were in Merrimark.
Yeah, like before the storms
Yeah, before
happen.
the storm happened,
Because Glass
because
always
Glass
shows
is
up.
like, she shows up
Yeah.
with the storm and then sits
Yeah.
there and is like, "Oh shit, we're running out of time. We got to go," and leaves.
Yeah.
And then they did that after whenever that final storm before the end of the season came, they did that. So I'm like, how were they in Melromark?
Well, and you think of it because it's like for the world with the four heroes, it's like, oh, we're being invaded by this storm, and then the
Exactly.
glasses world is like, we're being invaded too, but we also have the knowledge to go to the other worlds because for some reason we think killing the other heroes will stop
Well,
the
stop the
storm in ours.
exactly. Yeah.
It's
So
like what makes them what part of the story is in their world that makes them believe that killing these other heroes, like they probably have some prophecy that's like you got to kill these other heroes,
yeah, you need to
and
go to
whichever
them
world
or
wins
take the
doesn't
fight
get
to them.
invaded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like take the fight to them instead of
um
letting them come to you to defend, go on the
yeah,
offensive.
so their world
Because
has to have some extra knowledge to transfer them to the other worlds without the storms either,
exactly.
like without the storms being present.
Yeah, I
So
thought that was
because
really really strange that
yeah,
the
I'm sure they'll explain it later.
I hope so.
Yeah, so. All
That's kind
right,
of why I want to
so
read
yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil. I'll wait. But
it.
we'll close the last topic with the best part of the whole show, the trial of bitch and trash.
Ah, yes.
That
The
that
greatness,
brought so
the
many happy
sweet,
emotions.
the sweet, sweet, sweet victory there.
The sweetness of the hammer of justice.
Yes, that was. Oh man, once it was revealed that the king and mine or Mine, uh,
Multi. I call her Multi.
Malty, whatever. I call her Mine because that's what
Multi
he
and
calls her. Like, why are you doing this, Mine? And she's just like, nah. And yeah. But yeah,
that was satisfactory.
them getting arrested and put on trial, and the queen coming back, and Melty, the little sister, sitting there and being there to sit there and prove deference or prove loyalty to the kingdom, but also prove that all the shit against now for me was absolutely fabricated.
Yeah.
And the queen as well, sitting there and being like, "How could you do that to your own wife and your family?" You know, and that
Yeah.
being, and then the hero, or I think Ren and Itsuki were kind of like, just kind of sitting there looking like,
They were
Um,
kind of indifferent. They were like, well, it
yeah, they're
happened.
like either way this goes, but it's good to know this information.
Yeah.
And then Tonkatsu, aka Motoyasu, he was just kind of like, I can't
Pitiable.
believe
Like,
it. Huh, huh, huh.
I'm so stupid.
Yeah, how could I
Yeah.
be so stupid? I love that. Quick sidebar. I love that all of them were like, he seems like the kind of guy to sit there and do anything for a woman's gaze. Like,
Yeah, no shit.
that was one of my favorite, like, kind of fourth wall things. Like, he seems like one of those guys in an anime where yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it was
I like
nice.
how I like the nicknames he gave him, like bitch and
Yes, bitch and
trash,
trash.
right? Because it's such modern like terminology that it's like it
Yes,
kind of reminds you that oh yeah, he's not from
he
this
is
world. So he's
exactly because
I
there's
like
no
that
there's
part of
no
it.
throwback to his time in the modern world at
Yeah,
all. Basically the
except
entire
that.
series, yeah, and then it comes to that at the very end of the season,
Yeah, it's like oh yeah, I forgot
and
he's
all the
not.
people are like, "What are these words?" Like,
Well, they seem to kind of know what they
yeah,
are,
they're
but
like, "Oh," like they knew they were
then
bad by the way that he said them, and they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, this is." Can we say that about royalty? And he's like,
yeah.
they're no longer royal. Fuck them. Like that's it's
And
so
then
good.
oh, her adventurer name's gonna be Slut too.
Yeah,
We didn't forget about that.
it's so good.
Well, and I like the scenes where after that trial and stuff, where they're in the middle of the meeting with the four heroes, and like
Yeah,
even her mom was like, "Oh, she's like, I mean,
I mean,
bitch." Like,
bitch.
yeah, like they're a couple of the characters are like struggling to remember to call her bitch. They like
Yes,
half say her name and then correct it to bitch. And it's like that's great.
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
That was a. I was every time I saw it, I giggled. I was like, "That's what you get,
So I
bitch."
think overall, my overall I like the show. I think I would give it, if we're going back to our 5-star rating, I think I would honestly give it a 4. I really enjoyed the world building they did and the depth of the world that they built, as well as kind of the difference in the hero, the non-traditional hero character stuff they did as far as kicking him down
Yeah,
constantly. And it was good at bringing out emotions in me that I haven't felt in a while for a show.
I
So
so like for me, overall, I would give it about a 4.5. I like the 4.5 out of 5. The only reason because
I can agree with that.
I'm a big fan of like interweaving multiple storylines into the main narrative, and that
Yeah.
was and not making it forced. Like man, remember
Yeah.
I despise forced shit. I cannot stand forced story points, forced story beats. I don't need that shit. Just give me the straight up story and lay it out intelligently. And I think that they laid out. I think Shield Hero's storyline is laid out really intelligently to where it's easy to digest, but there are deeper layers to the world
Yeah.
that it leaves you thinking based off of some of the dialogue in passing. And I like that about shows, and especially anime. I like that about some anime. Code Geass does it very well. And Attack on Titan does that very well. As far as things I can think of off the top of my head, where there's lower, smaller things said in passing that have larger implications later on. Small details done in passing, things that happen earlier on in the story that affect the characters later on in the story, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I like that they went the route of yes, even though he got the shit kicked out of him on multiple occasions, in the end, for the most part, he came out on top.
Yeah.
He's still the shield hero. There's still plenty of shit to figure out as far as what the hell is going on with this other world, what's going on with, or how is the dynamic going to be moving forward with the other heroes? Are they going to just kind of be like, okay, well, we still look at you in a different light, regardless of the fact that you literally haven't done anything to deserve it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said, so there's no point in repeating it. But yeah, like it gives you that sense of thinking about the next steps of the story, like
Mm-hmm.
because he's still trying. Yeah, he came out on top, but he's still trying. He's still stuff he's got to discover.
Exactly.
Like he's not just all of a sudden the badass now.
Yeah. Still got to
Like
figure
he's
out what the hell
yeah,
the demon is in his freaking armor.
that's
Uh,
true. Yeah, that was
so got to figure out, what the hell is going on with Glasses World. So got to
yeah,
figure out what the overarching reason for the waves is, because that's something that they were all trying to discover.
Yeah, I believe the next season comes out in October,
I believe so. Which
which I'm looking. I gotta mark to my calendar now.
yes, I'm hyped for that.
I'm ready for that.
I
Watch
mean,
party.
watch party. But yeah, overall, that's it. They left it in a good state, and I like that. I am legitimately hype. Uh, even even the wife is sitting there and counting down, like, when is it coming? When's the season 2 coming out? Because she watched it,
Yeah.
and she was like, she anytime anything that we were outraged about when it came out for me, she'd like pause it and come out, and someone talking to me like, "What
Heavy
the
sigh.
actual?" Yeah, like she's like, "Okay, let's discuss." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So, yeah, it's we'll see how season 2 goes, but besides that, that is a wrap on season 1.
Yep.
Good
If you're on
show.
yep, if you're on YouTube, subscribe and all that fun usual stuff. We'll be putting out quick videos, short season reviews, and then more podcasts. And then if you're listening to the podcast, we also have it on Anchor with all the many platforms you could think of that you want to use.
Yep.
I'll put a link in that.
We've
Um,
got it on Anchor. Since the last podcast, we have expanded to more platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify, of course. We're on Stitcher. We're on Pocket Cast. We're on. I mean, if you can think of it, we should be. You should be able
yeah,
to find us via just searching Chilla and Vanilla.
satisfy your podcast listening needs.
Indeed.
Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next video/podcast.
Indeed. Catch you guys later. Peace.
Bye.